Fire.
James Spader and Holly Hunter explore the thin line between sex and death in Crash.
And Jennifer Lopez stars as the singing sensation named Selena.
I've had better.
Jim Carrey is a trial lawyer who cannot tell a lie for 24 hours anyway, and Liar, Liar, it's one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Jim Carrey has become one of Hollywood's top stars by perfecting a manic, madcap personality, sort of Jerry Lewis on speed. And it's risky when he departs from that image, as last year's disappointing The Cable Guy demonstrated. Now he's back in form. Liar, Liar is a very funny movie that also cleverly sneaks in some sentimental touches for the family audience, although nothing is allowed to slow down Carrey's over-the-top delivery. Here he is giving a pep talk to a client in a divorce case.
With all due respect, this isn't about you and Mr. Cole anymore. This is about all women. Where would Tina Turner be right now if she'd rolled over and said, "Hit me again, Ike," and put some stank on it? Rolling on the river, that's where she'd be.
Carrey's character is divorced, and his 5-year-old son is tired of being disappointed when Dad promises to do things and then doesn't follow through. So the kid makes a birthday wish that his father will tell only the truth for 24 hours.
Is wrestling real?
In the Olympics, yes. On Channel 23, no.
Will sitting too close to the TV set make me go blind?
Not in a million years.
If I keep making this face, will it get stuck that way?
In fact, some people make a good living that way.
The movie gets a lot of comic mileage out of Carrey's compulsive truth-telling. Here's what happens when he gets pulled over by a traffic cop.
Here goes. I sped. I followed too closely. I ran a stop sign. I almost hit a Chevy. I sped some more. I failed to yield at a crosswalk. I changed lanes in the intersection. I changed lanes without signaling while running a red light and speeding.
In other hands, the plot of this movie could easily get real old real fast, but Carrey transcends the plot with his incredible physical humor. There's a scene where he literally mugs himself in an attempt to get a court case continued, and I could hardly believe his boundless energy. It's a very entertaining movie, and after the miscalculation of the Cable Guy, Carrey is back on track.
I thought it was funny, too, in the centerpiece section where he has to tell all the truths.
Yeah,
I'm going to give a quibble on something. I wonder if you feel the same way. We've never talked about it. This picture ends over the credits with outtakes. I hate that. I don't even care if they're funny. I still hate it, because to me, it's almost like an act of desperation from the filmmakers saying, well, we're not sure if we made a funny picture, but now we're going to throw this stuff in and we'll leave you laughing on the way out. And it turns it into like a TV special than a movie. Do you know what I'm saying?
Bloopers. Yeah, I'm of two minds about them. Sometimes I see them and I think they are funny. Sometimes, as in this case, they really aren't that funny.
No, they're not.
So, when they are funny, I always suspect that they were scripted.
It's a small point, but what I'm trying to do is keep Hollywood from never doing it again.
But it's a fun...
The movie does work.
Okay.
Okay, our next picture is Mike Nichols' The Graduate from 1967, being revived with a new print and sound system as part of Hollywood's mining its past from its last golden era of a generation ago. We've seen the Star Wars pictures, and The Godfather was brought back in this way. The Graduate, of course, is the story of recent college graduate Benjamin Braddock. Dustin Hoffman, who is mightily confused about his future, a family friend gives him a very famous piece of advice.
Plastics.
Exactly how do you mean?
There's a great future in plastics.
But that doesn't help Ben, who is totally at sea, as expressed in a wonderful image by director Mike Nichols, Ben in his family's backyard pool, with the sounds of Simon and Garfunkel.
And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
Adding to Ben's confusion is that a friend of his parents, a certain Mrs. Robinson, played so well by Anne Bancroft, wants to have sex with him after his graduation party.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
The final act of The Graduate is about whether Ben can make up his mind and land the woman he loves, Mrs. Robinson's daughter, played by Catherine Ross, who is marrying someone else. Looking at The Graduate again, I was less impressed by the sexual escapades between Ben and Mrs. Robinson than by the generation gap between Ben and all of the adults in the film. Bancroft and Hoffman performed very well, but that's just cute stuff. Ben at the point of committing to someone or something, that, for me, is what distinguishes The Graduate on second viewing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The movie didn't hold up very well for me. I was kind of disappointed, and I think it may have something to do with the nature of topical humor. A topical joke needs to be told at the time when it's topical, and in a way, this whole movie was very much late 60s. As I looked at the movie, as I looked at the review I wrote at the time and remembered what 1967, 68, and 69 were really like, I realized that it resonated in a different way then. And now looking at it, I feel that Mrs. Robinson holds up very well. In fact, oddly enough, I thought Mrs. Robinson looked more attractive to me than her daughter in this movie, frankly. I mean, and at the time that I saw it, I thought she was some old lady. Now she looks like a babe. But apart from that, I feel that the satire really is of its time.
But the generation gap issue is not of its time. And Roger, there's another shot in the picture which we didn't show, where he's in the pool. Yeah. And we look through his glass.
I know, you've always loved that shot. You've been talking about that shot for years.
Well, it's terrific because it shows the confusion of a child coming out of college. I would say that.
Yeah, but surely the whole plot involving whether she's going to marry the other guy or not, and the parents and the...
That stuff doesn't work. The Catherine Ross relationship...
And even the getaway at the end from the church, which was so shocking before, now it just didn't really...
Frankly, because it was quicker than American movies were operating then. Just the speed of it all was different.
When we come back, Jennifer Lopez stars in Selena, the story of the murdered singing star. In the Houston Astrodome, a Mexican-American singing star named Selena fills the house with a triumphant concert that celebrates a new stage of her career. Having conquered the Spanish language music charts and become a phenomenon in the Southwest and in Mexico, she's poised to cross over into mainstream stardom. But within a few days, she'll be dead, shot down by a dishonest employee. Selena is a biopic based on the life and death of a young woman whose career began because her father wanted to start a family band.
This is something special that we can all do together.
Just a hobby, Abraham.
Just a hobby.
That's Edward James Olmos and Constance Marie as Selena's parents, and from the first, it's a family act, with her sister on drums and her brother playing the guitar. Her family is English-speaking, but her father insists she learn to sing in Spanish.
Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and then blow her out. Did you feel it? Do it again. Say that word, reloj.
Reloj.
Perfect.
That's Becky Lee Meza as young Selena. The older Selena is played in a star-making performance by Jennifer Lopez, who shows an onstage exuberance that quickly wins her lots of fans. Hires another guitarist played by John Seda, and soon Selena falls in love, but she also deals with his deep-seated insecurities.
I want it to work, okay, but it just can't.
But what? You know what your problem is? You can't even accept something great even when it's staring you in the face. I may not be streetwise and all that, but at least I know not to be that dumb.
The movie wisely leaves Selena's murder off screen, although it explains it and deals with the aftermath. Selena is not simply the story of a singer, but the story of a family, and Edward James Olmos plays a key role as a father who wanted to be a musician and sees his daughter realize his dreams. The movie was written and directed by Gregory Nava, whose My Family was also about a Mexican-American family. Here, helped by a luminous performance by Jennifer Lopez, he captures not only the story of a life, but also insights into an overlooked part of American culture. It's a very entertaining and moving film.
I would agree with you on one part, and that is Jennifer Lopez. And you say it's star-making, and it may very well be. She is absolutely enchanting in this role. The rest of the picture didn't work for me, and I'll give you some examples why. On the murder, We really don't understand it.
You sure do. The woman was stealing.
Yes.
She's nuts.
Okay.
She meets her in a motel and shoots her.
Yes. No, but Roger, someone who is, this is why I say that doesn't really deal with it. Someone who is caught stealing could easily turn a gun on themselves as opposed to turn it on someone else. The picture doesn't deal with that.
This movie is not about the woman who killed
Well, but I want to tell you something that's
it's about
important.
her life.
That's an important thing. The other thing is the early part, the early Selena. I thought that was really kind of ham-handed. And Edward James Olmos, you mentioned his character. His leading traits seem to be clumsiness. He stumbles into the sound system. He stumbles as he walks off of a bus. I didn't think there was much of a character there. And the mother, totally absent from the picture. She was fascinating.
There was a lot. I mean, I didn't even remember that he stumbled at all. He's a guy who loves music, who talks to his daughter about learning to sing in Spanish, who talks to her in a wonderful speech about the problem of being a Mexican-American and being left out of two different worlds. Of course it's a good speech.
That's a good speech.
And you talk about him falling off the bus. That's not fair.
This is as fair as my compliments.
The mother has a wonderful scene where she tries to comfort her daughter. She knows her daughter's in love. She knows the father is opposed to it. That's another good scene.
I'd like to see the mother have a fuller
come on, now
character.
you're telling me this movie didn't entertain you?
Only one element really entertained me. Her performance.
Well, her performance went through the whole movie.
No, it didn't.
You're voting thumbs down?
Yes, I am. Her performance comes in the and the film doesn't even explain how she gets a #1 hit, which is standard in that thing you do, the standard scene in the center of all these pictures.
You get a #1 hit because a lot of people buy your record.
But Roger, the exuberance of it, her working on it, we don't even see any of that. It's like a scene is missing. It's
not a
in this
documentary.
Picture. It sure is, and Roger, lots of stuff is missing that I would have liked to have seen.
Coming up next, a controversial movie with an NC-17 rating. Holly Hunter and James Spader star in David Cronenberg's Crash.
Forever, I'm beginning to feel like a potted plant.
That's James Spader as a man obsessed with car crashes and sex in a bold new movie called Crash, an adults-only experience carrying the rare NC-17 rating no one under 17 admitted. Crash is about a group of people who are sexually aroused by car crashes. They have them on purpose, reenact them, and generally are turned on by cars. It's not for a mainstream audience, and despite a big-name cast and a director who typically stands for quality, I was more depressed by this picture than impressed. In Crash, James Spader plays a filmmaker with a penchant for public sex who develops a sexual relationship with a woman played by Oscar winner Holly Hunter, whose car, get this, he crashes into by accident and kills her husband. Pretty hard to watch this scene and not say, oh, come on, this is ridiculous.
A trainee radiologist. Then the service manager at my garage.
You had sex with all those men in cars? All lane cars?
Yes, I didn't plan it that way.
Later, James Spader's character looks on from another car as his blonde wife, Deborah Unger, is willingly terrorized by a whacked-out performance artist played by Ilias Koteas, who likes to reenact celebrity car crashes. That performance artist character is truly twisted. He would like to drive cars that have been involved in celebrity car crashes, and he has theories about car crashes that are plainly idiotic, I think.
The car crash is a fertilizing rather than a destructive event. A liberation of sexual energy, mediating the sexuality of those who have died with an intensity that's impossible in any other form.
Crash was directed by David Cronenberg, the adventurous Canadian filmmaker of Scanners and Dead Ringers fame, and my honest reaction is that the subject of Crash left me feeling empty, not even challenged in the am I hip enough to get it way. Crash has some beautiful bodies on view, but also some ugly ideas, and as I said, I think it really did leave me cold.
Well, of course, it was intended to leave you cold. I think I liked the movie a lot more than you did. I would like to make it clear that most people are probably going to hate it, be repelled by it, or walk out of it, just as they did at the Cannes Film Festival.
Why is that?
Because it's too tough for them to take.
Oh, you mean, well,
really
Roger?
Yes, it is. It is.
Wait a second.
Sex involving wounds and blood and scabs and braces. A lot of people don't want to see it, don't want to have anything to do with it, don't want to get close to it.
I want to be clear. Do you think that that's my objection, the nature of my objection?
I felt that your objection was that you didn't really bring any sympathy to what he was trying to do, and I'll tell you what he was trying to do. He's trying to make a pornographic movie without pornography. He's taking the form of a pornographic movie without the function or the content. He's substituting car crashes for the usual erotic stuff in order to show the mechanism of human compulsion and obsession.
Okay, but wait a second.
And it's a fascinating study of the way the mind works in connection with images that we connect with sex.
Roger, it can't. I'm going to review the movie, and then I'll review your review. My objection to what you said is that I think that there are, quote, soft porno stuff in the picture. When you see sex on the hood of a car, when you see people making it in bed...
None of the sex scenes in this movie are directed in a way to be erotic.
Oh, I think that the one scene in bed between Deborah Carr-Unger and Spader, I think that that's intended to be erotic. I think a woman touching her breast, pulling it out of her bra, that's intended to be erotic. And I think it can be erotic. I'm saying that the ideas in the film, said by the performance artist, that somehow this is a connection between life and death, that's a bunch of hooey.
The movie doesn't...
the
movie thinks so too, Gene. The movie is about crazy people.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. The movie doesn't argue these people are right, or even that they make sense.
But are they interesting?
Yes.
Not to me.
You've never seen anyone like this before.
Well, I haven't seen a lot of people in bad movies before that I don't like either.
Okay, when we come back, one of this year's Academy Award nominees, Kolya. Kolya, which has been nominated for an Oscar as Best Foreign Language Film, tells the story of a down-and-out Prague musician whose life is given fresh meaning when he finds himself responsible for a small child. He marries the boy's Russian mother to help her get a Czech passport, but then she defects to the West. Her old aunt dies, and the man is left in charge of the child.
Čmariky, čmariky dělat. No, tak si koukej z okna, hlavně je to fuk.
The man is bad at being a father, but the kid is expert at being a child and has no trouble making his wishes known. And when the two get separated at a subway station, he realizes how much he has come to care for the boy.
Kolya!
Kolya is sentimental and somewhat predictable, but it's heartwarming, and it is well acted. And it provides a glimpse beyond the characters into the world of Czechoslovakia in the dying days of the Cold War, when that musician could be fired from the symphony for simply making the wrong kind of joke. It's a touching film that avoids cliches by remaining so closely focused on the everyday reality of the lives of its characters.
I liked it too, and the director brings an offbeat touch and a realism to this story that would be just warmed over and made too sweet, so we never would believe, for example, that the bachelor father here would, would ever be really tough and have a problem with it. There'd always be hints in a Hollywood version of this story that he was a good guy and he just needed a little kid to bring him up.
If this movie were remade by Hollywood, and it may be, of course, first of all, they take out the father's sex life. Right. Absolutely gone.
And I like that.
There wouldn't be any of that, and including the fact that his girlfriends help him raise the kid.
Exactly.
None of that, and none of the politics. It would just be probably like One of the Odd Couple raising a kid.
And one other thing, they wouldn't find a boy as charming as this kid, and it is natural. This kid is a natural actor, and it's a good picture. I like that it's nominated for an Oscar. We'll see if it wins.
Absolutely right.
Okay. Coming up next, our video pick of the week, a better film than Selena, I think, about an artist who died much too young.
Siskel and Ebert's video pick of the week is brought to you by Raisinets. At the movies or anytime, Raisinets.
My pick this week, just out on video, is Basquiat, about the Haitian-American artist Jean-Michel Basquiat, who moved from painting graffiti to $500,000 canvases during the go-go days of the New York art world in the 1980s. In a superb, charismatic performance, actor Jeffrey Wright plays Basquiat, who at first is indifferent to fame. But after an encounter with Andy Warhol, well played by David Bowie, he chases fame and money, and they chase him.
Oh, come to Garcon want me to, like, model from them? Maybe you could do that with me.
Yeah, I could do that. Basquiat does a very good job of showing how fame and money can be the enemies of artists, especially if the artist can't cope and chooses drugs to escape.
One might ask, is there anything left for Jean-Michel Basquiat to do? Bottom line, what is it gets you out of bed in the morning?
I hate this, man. Turn that off.
What?
Basquiat, my video pick of the week. Now let's recap the movies we reviewed on this show. 2 thumbs up for Liar Liar. This is Jim Carrey light, and he's lightly funny. 2 thumbs up, but marginal recommendations for The Graduate, which holds up better as a generation gap comedy than a sex farce. A split vote on Selena, the musical biography that Roger liked a whole lot more than I did. I'm just recommending Jennifer Lopez's winning performance. Roger liked most everything about the film. We split again on Crash, David Cronenberg's adults-only twisted tale of automobile eroticism. It left me cold, but Roger thought it was original and daring. And finally, 2 thumbs up for Kolya, the foreign language Oscar nominee about a confirmed bachelor taking charge of a little boy. It's a nice picture.
So the 2 most interesting films this week, I think, are Selena and Crash.
And I can't recommend either one of them, but Selena has one strong element, Jennifer Lopez's work.
Okay, that's it for this week. Next week, we'll be back with reviews of more new movies, including The Devil's Own, starring Harrison Ford and Brad Pitt, and the story of an IRA killer and a New York cop. And The Sixth Man, starring Kadeem Hardison and Marlon Wayans, in a fantasy combining ghosts and basketball. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.